Leif Spork back again, owner, artist for Spork Tile Art in Suttons Bay, Michigan. I'm here now in Leland, Michigan, which is about 9 miles from Suttons Bay in the same county, and this is where I have my gallery in a very special place called Fishtown. Fishtown has been called Fishtown since the 1930s. It is one of the last still intact fishing villages left on Lake Michigan that remains from the glory days of the fishing industry. When the lake was full of fish and there was tons of need for catching fish and sending it to Chicago and Detroit and the other on trains. So there's only a couple places left on Lake Michigan, Lake Fishtown, and so it's I grew up here, and this was always a place where, as a kid, you're welcome to come and fish in the river and to get candy and ice cream and smoked fish here. There's boats that still go out and fish occasionally. The Native Americans fish out of here, so it's this is probably one of the most known places in all of Michigan. It's on the cover of our maps. The state makes maps, road maps, and they put Fishtown on it. They do commercials about Fishtown. It's one of the most it's recognizable tourist destinations in Michigan. So in about I think it was 2008. Through the years, one fisherman ended up owning all of the original shanties, or most of the original shanties, and he wanted to retire. He wanted to sell. He had created Fishtown. He made it into a place where people could come and go shopping. He bought the old shanties when the fishermen went out of business. He turned them into galleries, rented the spots out. If it wasn't for him, his name is Bill Carlson. If it wasn't for him and then the Carlson's fishery, I think he's the fourth generation. His ancestors are from Norway. And if it wasn't for him, this would have probably been torn down and there would have been condos here or something. So in 2008, the Fishtown Preservation Society was created, and a group of concerned citizens of the community here ended up buying Fishtown and creating a nonprofit that preserves it and keeps it the way that it is, because it's such a part of the community here. It would be very detrimental if it were to disappear. So, and for you and Uda, you're doing a very similar thing with the old smelting factory. That's exactly almost what we did here in Fishtown. So I've been a part of the Fishtown Preservation Society since 2010. I was selected out of several dozen applicants wanted to get a spot here, and they picked me. I grew up here. I've done a lot for the community, and I had a product that was viewed as something that would be perfect for Fishtown, so they picked me, and it was it totally changed my business. This is by far my most important part of my business. Not only is this a place that I have spent many days, hours down here when I was a child, when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, when I was all the times in my life fishing. I've been down here for so many hours. It was a part of my life already. So then to have a gallery here and to make art that represents this place is just amazing. So it's just a very important part of my business. We're open from May until the end of October, and we're open every day, 10 to 6. Sundays, we have not missed a day yet. So let me give you a little tour of Fishtown and talk about it. So there it is. you're looking at Fishtown. You'll see on the sign there, Historic Fishtown. And there's a fishing tug right in the middle. This is the Leland Harbor in the marina. The village of Leland is right up here. It's smaller than Sutton's Bay. It probably has about 400 residents year-round. In the summertime, this is just a hopping place. The marina is full of boats. Tourists from June, July, and August are just everywhere, walking around, eating sandwiches at the sandwich shop. One of the most popular place in Fishtown is the sandwich shop, the cheese shanty they call it. There's a restaurant there. So officially, Fishtown begins at this building, and it goes all of the shanties, virtually all the shanties, all the way down to that weather vane there, the fish on it. So that's a private residence there. That's the only private residence that is considered part of Fishtown. Okay. Now, many people will have different opinions on what is Fishtown and what isn't Fishtown, but for someone who's lived here their whole life, when you think of Fishtown, you think of just the old buildings on the river. That's Fishtown to you. If you're a visitor, many of my customers talk about Fishtown, and they believe that all of this is Fishtown. They feel like this is all Fishtown, all these shops and galleries, the restaurant, even up on the street, they consider that Fishtown. And that's fine. But to a local, to someone who's part of the Fishtown Preservation Society, all of these buildings are Fishtown. Right here. Okay, so we have a shoe store there. There's a candy store there. That's a sandwich shop. This is now the headquarters for Fishtown Preservation Society, the informational location. Right there we have a store that sells all kinds of tourist-related goods, from hats and sunglasses to little fun t-shirts, anything that has the word Fishtown or Michigan on it, little things, knick-knack things, you'll find them there. In that building there, in the upper part of it, that's a clothing store called Haystacks, very popular. She has galleries all over the state and the country. There's another building, you can see the corner of it there. That's one of the more popular old stores here in Fishtown, called Tug Stuff. They sell the traditional tug wear, which is the old fish tug, which we'll see. You can see it down there a little bit. They have their logo, and they wear that on all their clothing and purses and hats and bags and earrings. It all has everything fish tug related. The original Carlson's Fishery is right there. We'll go down there and take a look at that in a minute. That's the fishery that was preserved all of this. Bill Carlson, who owned all of this, he preserved it all. He's given credit for that. On the other side of the river, like I said, that's a private residence. Those two buildings have recently been purchased by Fishtown Preservation Society. That building there is a rental now, so if people want to rent that and have a real Fishtown experience, they can do that. That building there is more of a museum. It's kind of a preserved shanty that is exactly like what Fishtown used to be like. It was basically left untouched from when it was last used as a fishing shanty. So what we have here, that building there is the Manitou Island Transit. So if you look way out there in the horizon, you'll see we have these great islands here that people go out to. It's called Manitou Island. That's North Manitou Island. It's 9 miles to North Manitou Island. And then if you move over here, so way out there, there's South Manitou Island. Those are both national parks. It's called the Sleeping Bear, they're both part of the national park. It's called the Sleeping Bear Dunes National Park. North Manitou Island is a wilderness area, so you can go out there and camp, but you can't have campfires, and there's no bathrooms really to speak of other than at the location where the boat drops you off. South Manitou Island has campsites. Both are really awesome places to visit and go camping and explore, to get a kind of a there's old farms that were out there, but now it's all, no one lives there. It's all they preserved the farms, and the island is just growing naturally the way it would if man had never been out there. And you catch the boat to the Manitou Island Transit right here. You can see the boat right there. So That's a really big attraction here. It's the only place where you can go to get to the island is right here. Here you'll see more land. That's called Good Harbor Bay. It's a nice big bay, and all the land along the bay is in the Sleeping Bear Dunes National Park. That point you see there, you can't see it from here. That right there is called Pyramid Point. It's a very popular place to go climb. Those are dunes, like 400-foot high dunes there. There's lakes, trails, a lot of hiking over there. It's a national park, so it's a little different than in Norway. The trails are more very specific where you can go. However, you can go anywhere, but it's just very organized. Lots of signs. It's very nice. It's very fun to go explore there. I've spent many trips out there. It's about a 15-20 minute drive to get to the spot where you hike to get up there. This is all Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan is like the 10th or 8th or 9th or 10th, largest freshwater lake in the world. This is part of the Great Lakes. It's about, I believe it's 90 miles across to get to Wisconsin, right here at this location. So you can imagine this place in the summer is absolutely just hopping. So let's get down to Fishtown really quick. This is also the furthest north place of the Sleeping Bear Dunes. So the Sleeping Bear Dunes don't go any further north than here. The history of Fishtown. Because of the river here, this used to be a place where they would take iron ore from the upper part of Michigan and they would bring it down on ships. And there was a smelter here, and they would melt the iron out of the rocks and create usable iron for tools, for farm equipment, for anything that a new community here, like in Leland, like in this area, would need to start farming, to turn the land into a usable thing. So this is a big chunk of iron ore that was left over from this big factory that was here. It burned down in the early 1900s or late 1800s, and then they never built it back. So there's a few really cool things that we have here that I can talk about. So this originally here was a big iron company, and the ships would bring the iron ore in and they would smelt it, and all about that. Everyone in Uda knows all about smelting. So this is the cheese shanty, very popular place. There's a long line in the summertime all the way out there. A reflections gallery in the bottom of that building is like a kind of a upper scale kind of nautical, local themed kind of modern art, I guess you call it, but more of a kind of a like ships in a bottle kind of a place. Okay, backside of the cheese shanty. Okay, so this is a place here called this is the Leland River, and the Leland River flows from Lake Leelanau, and right now it's really flowing really good. They have the dam open a lot because the ice is melting on the lake, and all that snow is making the river high, the lake high. So they lower it, and it flows really fast right now. So this is in the heart of Fishtown, where I'm standing right now, basically. I've spent many times as a kid growing up fishing here. We'd cast our salmon come up here, steelhead or rainbow trout come up here. There's bass, all kinds of fish, smelt. You can see the notches in the posts here from all the times that we would cut notches and put our rods there. And then surprised there's no one fishing here now. This boat right here is called the Janice Sue. It is an authentic, original style fishing net fishing boat, a commercial fishing boat here in the Great Lakes in Fishtown. It's not a submarine, so that the nets would be let go out the back of the boat, and they would go out and catch whitefish and chubs and lake trout. That boat, I believe, is from the 1950s, and it's not used anymore because the type of fish it really started to catch have been banned. Or not banned, you just don't fish for them anymore. They're called chubs. They're little fish that you would catch and smoke. These here are like original net drying racks. So in the Fishtown's heyday, you would see these, dozens of these all over, up in the parking lot, all around, where fishermen would have their nets drying. And you can imagine if all the fishermen are here fishing, all the smells of the fish being caught and the smoking going on and nets drying. So these buildings were all used to support the fishing industries that were here. And now they're returned. This here is called the Rock and Bead Hut. This woman sells jewelry. She's been here for a long time. The Joy is one of the newest. Well, the boats are now part of Fishtown Preservation Society, so they are basically like museum boats. However, this boat is still used occasionally. There is one fisherman that has a license to go out and fish still, and he uses this boat. And primarily they go for whitefish and lake trout. So these boats sit in the river all year round, and they help people remember what Fishtown was like. We have the old nets on the drying racks, kind of as a way. This got knocked over in the winter. We had kind of a hard winter here. Lots of snow. So when I was a kid, these boats were in operation more than they are today. And I used to stand on this boat and fish off of it down here in the river. And the guy, the fisherman who owned this boat, his name was Ross Lang. He died he drowned out in Lake Michigan here while they were fishing. And I think it was 1997, or 1999 maybe. A tragic accident. So everyone remembers him, and his boat is now here. And it's both of these boats are just very special boats for Fishtown. That got damaged in the winter too. You'll see over here we have more stuff that supports the fishing. This is the first. In the summertime, there's charter boats here that take people out salmon fishing. So this boat is the first boat in for the year. So there's about, I think there's like 7 or 8, maybe 10. So the charter fishermen take people out to go salmon fishing and lake trout fishing. This here is like the unofficial. This is like the quintessential Fishtown logo. When people see this all over the state of Michigan, they know Fishtown. Everyone's about ready to start getting ready. You know, they've really made Fishtown nice. They have these informational little cubbies where they have stories about Fishtown. This is the backside of the famous Carlson's fishery. Bill Carlson is the 4th generation. Excuse me, I think he's 3rd generation. Fisherman here who has Norwegian heritage. His family came from Norway, and they settled out on the islands, the Manitou Islands. And they fished there, and then they brought their business here years later. That's thanks for his work with preserving all these shanties here through the years. He is given credit for like keeping this place the way that it is. If this had been turned into something else, it really would have been a huge detriment to the community and our economy here, and the history of our state. The Mishimakwa, this is the boat that goes out to the Manitou Islands. And I've been on this boat many times. I think it's 30 or 40 bucks. You can go out to the island for the day and check it out. There's a really neat lighthouse there. It's all dunes, natural. This here is the old original Manitou Island boat. this used to be the mail boat, I think. So I believe this used to take the mail out to the Manitou Islands when people used to live there. In the 1960s, the national park happened, and they sold everyone had to sell their property out on the islands, and so there was no more mail service. So now this family has the ferries to the islands. And the Grosvenors, it's called the Grosvenors. George Grosvenor is the grandpa of the family who I used to know, and he actually was born in my dad's house. So I took this boat out once to North Manitou Island. That's our dredge here. We bought the dredge last year to we get a lot of sand coming in the harbor. So instead of hiring a company, we have our own dredge now. So we dredge it. That's where you buy the tickets to get to go out to the island. They start taking trips out in May, and this is like the gift shop where you can get maps and T-shirts and all kinds of cool stuff like that. This is like our iconic little fish here, wind vane. That thing's really cool. It's been here forever. Carlson's Fishery. This is the original. Hasn't changed since I was a kid, as far as I can tell from right now. Smoked fish, fresh fish. Here are our smokers. These are brand new. At Spork Tile Art. So in the summertime, I used to watch my gallery all by the first 2 years when I was in Fishtown, 2010 and 2011. I watched my gallery all by myself. So, except for the weekends I went to art fairs, I would be in here selling my own tiles. So I got to know the customers and the business and how to talk to customers that are visiting Fishtown. You know, I was an expert because I grew up here and I studied history. So it was perfect for me to be here. Right now we are about a month away from opening, and it's kind of been picked through because we've had to do that to go to art fairs and to just to have inventory for other reasons. We don't have it ready to kind of give a tour of it, but I will be sending you photos and of all what the gallery looks like when we open for the summer, and it is just amazing, full of tiles. Every hole is filled. The wall is packed. I have to get my key. See, we had a rough winter. I have to fix my ceramic fish. So the plan is to have a new sign up here to start the year, or maybe once I know I'm going to have a gallery in Uda, I'm going to make a new sign, and it's going to be like the sign in Sutton's Bay. It's going to have the Spork family coat of arms on one side, and the arrow coat of arms for Uda, and on the other side, just like how I have the Trumpso and Auroros coat of arms on my Sutton's Bay gallery. So this sign I made in 2010, and I'm going to donate that to the Fishtown Preservation Society. So as far as I'm concerned, I want to be, this is like the last gallery ever to close. This is just, for me to be here is like a dream come true. However, you get a spot like this and you get really busy and you have to stay in your workshop and make tiles and hire people to watch it. And then you end up not watching your own gallery anymore if you want to grow, and that's fine, but it's hopefully going to be taking me to Norway as far as I can see, and that's a wonderful thing. Fishtown was settled by Norwegians, many Norwegians, and it's fitting for me to to be able to have a gallery in Norway. Here's another smoker here. They do beef jerky in this one. So you come down here in Fishtown in the mornings, 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, all summer long. Smoke's drifting through the air of smoked fish. People love it. And you know what? Even if you were in Uda, even if you were to recreate something like this and have smoked fish in shops like that, and like try to make something like what it maybe once was like, it would be popular. It's just a really fun thing to have. Oh. Okay, that's going to end this part of my tour. I'll get the pictures of the inside, and you can really get a good look at what it looks like on the inside. So I'll send those as well.